Xbox has been hit with a massive leak thanks to parent company Microsoft's ongoing battle with the FTC over its acquisition of Activision Blizzard. While this development is a massive headache for Xbox, whose plans for the next few years have been laid bare for public scrutiny, it is a gold mine for the gamers and other companies that reveals the true intentions of Microsoft and Phil Spencer. Probably one of the most significant parts of this leak is the hardware roadmap for Xbox. Upcoming Xbox hardware revealed in the leak includes mid-gen refresh consoles, controllers, as well as an Xbox handheld. There is no indication that Xbox is working on a handheld at this time, but it has been mentioned here as a potential future project. The picture that is used for the Xbox handheld may simply be a mock-up. Leaked court documents reveal Microsoft's plan to launch a diskless version of the Xbox Series X called Brooklyn in November 2025, featuring a USB-C port and 2 terabytes of storage. These documents include images of both the console and controller, and also reveal the projected console launch date of November 2025 and price of $499. There are features listed like improved I/O throughput and easy development, though it is to be seen if those work in practice, as the Series S exists. On September 1st, Microsoft released a revamped Xbox Series S console that featured a black casing and 1 terabyte of storage space. However, the leaked court documents hint that a second revision of the smaller console is expected in September 2025. This project is codenamed Elwood and seems to upgrade the device to have Wi-Fi 6E and Bluetooth 5.2 support. It will come with the new version of the Xbox controller, as well as a few other tweaks like reduced power consumption when in standby mode. Besides unveiling the diskless Xbox Series X, the documents showed that the Xbox controller will also be seeing an upgrade, codenamed Siebel, which is expected to be announced sometime in 2023. The big Microsoft FTC leak has revealed plans to release a brand new Xbox controller in 2024 that will apparently have some of the same features as the PS5's DualSense. Xbox releases new controllers on a regular basis. Sometimes these controllers offer more functionality at a higher price, like the Xbox Elite Series line. The Microsoft FTC leak has revealed plans for a new Xbox controller, currently known as Siebel. The leaked Xbox controller is expected to retail for around $70 and will feature a new black and white design, new mobile app features, haptic feedback, and VCA haptics that double as speakers. Haptic feedback has long been a major selling point of Sony's DualSense controller, and so it's no surprise to see Xbox adopt the technology. The new Xbox controller will also have an accelerometer, quieter buttons and thumbsticks, a rechargeable and swappable battery, and other bells and whistles that should make it an upgrade over the currently available Xbox controllers. The leaked new Xbox controller seems to be a part of a fresh Xbox hardware push that Microsoft is gearing up for in 2024. Haptic feedback and adaptive triggers of the DualSense is a great way to immerse yourself into a game world, and hopefully the new Xbox controller will offer the experience on par with the PS5 DualSense. There are tons of information came through the leak, which an employee from Microsoft themselves leaked. I think it is part of a bigger 38 terabytes leak of the whole Microsoft company. For Microsoft, one of the documents contained a number of attachments that were not redacted at all, and they revealed a slew of information about Xbox and its plans through 2030. Some of the major tidbits included the fact that the next generation of Xbox, as well as the PS6, is expected to launch sometime around 2028. In the meantime, a mid-generation diskless refresh of the Xbox Series X is planned for 2025. Also among the leaked documents was a slide that revealed that a big chunk number of gamers have purchased the Xbox Series S, the little brother to what many consider to be the real console, the Series X, and also the holding back current generation potato. The image dates back to April 2022, and it's not clear whether the numbers cover a specific fiscal period or overall sales to date. It reveals that 74.8% of Xbox Series console owners actually bought the Series S, while only 25.1% got the Series X. Despite these 2022 numbers, industry analyst Matt Piscatella estimates that trends may have equalized in the time since, with the Xbox Series X and S splitting closer to a 65-35 market share. An interesting detail that might be overlooked in the FTC Xbox leak is the mention of Project Keystone, a cloud-only version of the Xbox that once appeared on Phil Spencer's shelf. Project Keystone was reportedly cancelled toward the end of 2022. Any or all of the other hardware and games mentioned could have met the same fate, but it is worth looking at them anyway. Other new hardware in the works includes a few controllers. A new core Xbox controller codenamed Siebel, a one-handed controller, a mobile controller, a premium and elite controller, as well as a gaming mouse and keyboard. Again, a couple of these are mentioned under the not in scope for first-party column, the mobile controller and a media controller, which is presumably the one-handed controller already mentioned. What does appear to be in the pipeline is the PC accessories along with the luxury and elite controllers, codenamed Xerasai and Actium respectively. These three hardware items are under a list of items that are on the Xbox radar, but haven't been funded as yet. Repairability and sustainability is another item on this list, suggesting that Microsoft is moving towards hardware that users can be more easily fixed when broken. Controllers are typically the first thing to wear out with consoles, after all. Speaking of hardware and Xbox consoles, Microsoft is planning a hybrid Xbox platform for cloud gaming for 2028. Further documentation sheds light on the technical specifications for this next Xbox gaming system, which could be a console handheld platform similar to Nintendo's massively successful Switch. According to an unredacted court attachment from the FTC's case against Microsoft, this alleged console aims to utilize cloud technology to deliver deeper immersion and entirely new classes of game experiences that will supposedly go beyond the limits of conventional hardware. Powering this new, untitled Xbox console will be either an ARM64 or x64 AMD Zen 6 processor, which according to the leaked documents will be coupled with an AMD Navi 5 RDNA 5 GPU. Graphics-wise, Microsoft's new system will look to next-generation DirectX ray tracing, micropolygon rendering optimizations, ML-based super resolution, and an extensibility model for faster iteration and innovation. Lastly, Microsoft is looking to include a lacking thin operating system that will cost less than $99. There is still much about Microsoft's supposed next Xbox system that players don't know. Most of the information shared during the recent FTC investigation stems from discussions among corporate executives dating little over a year ago. Plans for this next Xbox console might have changed since then, but it looks like Microsoft is planning a blend of traditional hardware and cloud technology for its next gaming platform. I'm afraid this could result in the platform being always online and a big threat to game preservation. Some newly emerged communications between Microsoft's executives have now added more credence to that roadmap following their release in the aftermath of the FTC's antitrust lawsuit against the Activision Blizzard acquisition. The chat messages, dated May 2022, originate from a meeting between Microsoft's senior leadership and top Xbox officials. During the conference, one of the company's non-gaming executives casually mentioned 2028 as the release window for the next Xbox console. There was a time when the only way for players to access games was through a physical disc. However, those days are very much behind the industry as studios push for a more digital-only future. While there are still loads of physical releases every month, players seem to be increasingly opting for digital instead. Already, the PC gaming community has mostly moved away from physical media entirely. The rise of Steam has given players an easy way to browse, purchase, download, and play a massive library of games that grows bigger every single day. Competitors like the Epic Games Store, Ubisoft Connect, Battle.net, and the EA app have given players even more ways to play. Most of these titles do not even get physical release anymore, making actual discs a thing of the past. Because of this, many PCs and laptops do not come with disc trays. For the first time, both Xbox and PlayStation launched digital-only consoles alongside ones with disc trays. Unlike the two PS5s however, Xbox's digital-only console was also weaker than the flagship Xbox Series X. This still pushed players to buy the one with the disc tray, which at least gave them the option for discs if they wanted it. Recently, leaks from FTC documents have revealed that Xbox may be drastically changing its approach soon. While nothing has been confirmed yet, the mid-gen refresh of the Xbox Series X will allegedly remove the disc tray while also adding more space and a whole new controller. This means that players looking for more power will no longer have to purchase a console with a disc tray, which could mean that discs may be on their way out, also with the rise of Xbox Game Pass. This rumored Xbox Series X refresh could mean that Xbox is officially moving away from the concept entirely, which would just leave Nintendo without a digital-only version of its flagship device. Removing that option for players will mean they flock to the online stores, and that will likely kill off a significant portion of the physical market. While there will probably always be players who want to own the discs, it could soon be a lot harder to find them. Hopefully physical media and ownership will remain forever. If the successor to the Xbox Series X and S does launch in 2028, it would put the generation around 8 years, tying it with the Xbox 360 for the longest such lifespan of an Xbox system. The original Xbox had the shortest lifespan, releasing in 2001 and disappearing from shelves in 2005 in the lead-up to the Xbox 360 launch. Microsoft has been talking about moving consoles beyond generations since it announced the Xbox One X under the codename Project Scorpio in 2016. There are some wild and dumb things from those leaked emails too. Like Phil Spencer writing to Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella, after seeing the reveal of the PS5 in the PlayStation Showcase of June 2020 and Mark Cerny's road to the PS5 presentation, and said that Xbox has the advantage both in hardware and the software. Even though the PS5 is designed with better flexibility for the devs to develop games, with much higher SSD speed, I/O output and bandwidth than the Xbox Series X. I can understand Phil just saw the raw specs like T-flops and other buzzwords, and thought the Xbox Series X is gonna be more powerful. But that wasn't the case, as majority of the multi-platform games run better on the PS5 and first-party games in comparison. It is a bloodbath from PlayStation Studios. Then the Xbox engineers realized the PS5 is a far superior console after the release, and they admitted the PS5 is much better for game development and is faster than the Series X. But when I saw the email and Phil said, "We are okay, and Xbox gonna have that lead," I realized that Phil Spencer doesn't know quality control and just throw money at everything to see what sticks. We are just getting started on the leaks, as there is a ton of them. Leaked Microsoft documents have revealed the estimated costs of putting third-party games on Xbox Game Pass. Bond provided an analysis of potential day-and-date debuts on Xbox's subscription service to fill the gap, including cost estimates, average hours of play, and the likelihood that publishers would be open to making a deal. Star Wars Jedi Survivor had the highest estimated cost at $300 million. Bond described acquiring the title as a crown jewel for Game Pass, but noted that EA was unlikely to agree to a deal. Mortal Kombat 1 was also deemed a crown jewel for Xbox for $250 million, but like other Warner Bros. Interactive entertainment titles, it would be unlikely to pass following the recent merger with Discovery. However, Xbox announced on Tuesday that Gotham Knights, $50 million, would be coming to Game Pass on October 3rd, and LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, $35 million, was made available on the service last December. Grand Theft Auto costs $15 to $25 million a month and Red Dead Redemption 2 costs $5 million a month to put on the Game Pass service. Baldur's Gate 3 was also a potential buy, valued at $5 million. While not included in the analysis, Spencer also mentioned a potential deal with From Software to get the Dark Souls games on Game Pass following the hit factor around Elden Ring. It's unclear if Microsoft is still pursuing this deal. The discussion came after Spencer shared his concerns that, because of Starfield's delay and a lack of clarity on Redfall's release, Xbox would likely experience a 16-month gap between exclusive launches. This is really a disaster situation for us given all we've invested in content across our studios at our GP Content Fund, Spencer wrote. We need to learn from this and build a plan forward. To come off of 2021 with no big exclusives launching in 2022 is a portfolio planning miss that we can't afford. Leaked documents from the Microsoft vs FTC trial recently unveiled that Microsoft was not expecting much from Baldur's Gate 3. Xbox's chief Phil Spencer listed Baldur's Gate 3 to other executives as a second-run Stadia PC RPG, a reference to the fact that the game would be released on Google's now-defunct gaming platform. Spencer's emails also show that Microsoft expected the cost to take BG3 to Game Pass to be around $5 million, as it was seen as a low-priority project at the time. Michael Dowse, the director of publishing at Larian Studios, commented on some remarks made about Baldur's Gate 3 that were discovered in some internal emails that were part of a major Microsoft leak. Dowse stated on Twitter that Microsoft was far from alone in its underestimation of Baldur's Gate 3. Dowse said that a similar comparison was made between Divinity Original Sin 2 and the turn-based RPG genre overall, and that such doubts from the industry came with developing them. Dowse added that there was no way of knowing beforehand how successful an RPG like Baldur's Gate 3 would turn out to be prior to launch. and said the company had to take some spooky steps during development. In my opinion, it is disrespectful to name a game like that, even it wasn't expected to be widely appealing before launch. The majority of Xbox Game Pass subscribers pay full price and use the service on console. That's according to a heavily redacted Microsoft slide deck, spotted by Tweaktown, which was among the latest wave of court documents to be released from the platform holders' legal battle against the Federal Trade Commission. Towards the end of the deck, Microsoft gave an overview of its digital gaming ecosystem as of April 2022, which showed that of the 33.6 million subscriptions on its Xbox consoles, 21.9 million were for Game Pass, with the remaining 11.7 million being Xbox Live Gold. Since Microsoft has announced Game Pass had a total of 25 million subscribers just a few months before, more than 20% of the service's users were on console. The company also declared that Game Pass net revenue per subscription was $9.26, just shy of the $9.99 price tag, suggesting most subscribers pay full price. This has grown 14% over the previous quarter and 12% over the previous year. By comparison, Microsoft was receiving $6.10 for each Xbox Live Gold subscription. The Gold subscription is due to be retired soon and replaced with Xbox Game Pass Core, with current subscribers shifted to this new tier. This is expected to significantly increase Game Pass overall user base. The slide also shows Xbox Live had 112 million quarterly active users at the time. Of these, 51.3 million were on console, and 48.7 million of those were actively playing games. 39.7 million were classed as monetized users, of which 1.5 million were new, meaning 35% of Xbox Live users are spending additional money on Xbox. A roadmap of upcoming Xbox video games from Bethesda has also found its way into the public eye. Big first-party games appear to be spread fairly thin over the next couple of years, unless the first-party titles Xbox gamers have to look forward to in the year following Starfield are Indiana Jones and a remaster of Oblivion. The following financial year, which is presumably 2025, starts off with Doom Year Zero and also has two unnamed projects referred to only as Project Kestrel and Project Platinum. The final year on the list is a little more colorful, with The Elder Scrolls 6, licensed IP game, a Ghostwire Tokyo sequel, a remaster of Oblivion, Fallout 3, and Dishonored 3. This chart was created for a July 2020 presentation about Microsoft's acquisition of ZeniMax Media and Bethesda, which wasn't finalized until March 2021. There are several interesting titles on the list, including a game called Doom Year Zero and its DLC, as well as Starfield DLC, which was apparently already on the drawing board. But what will stand out for many people are the mentions of The Elder Scrolls Oblivion and Fallout 3 remasters, slated for release in fiscal year 2022 and 2024, respectively. Obviously, there was no Oblivion remaster in 2022, and there probably won't be a Fallout 3 remaster coming out in 2024. Especially since Bethesda has turned its attention to The Elder Scrolls 6 now that Starfield has been released, and other leaks from the FTC case have revealed that TES 6 isn't expected to launch until 2026 or later. Granted, the developers at Bethesda could be divided into separate teams, much as they were to work on the remastered Skyrim Special Edition, VR version, and Anniversary Edition while Starfield was in development. It's also important to keep in mind that this release schedule is from 2020, when Starfield was expected to launch in FY 2021. A number of titles on the list did not release when projected, and others still haven't even been announced. The title of the next Doom game is reportedly Doom Year Zero. The title may have changed at some point, but it seems that Xbox is set on the name. This doesn't reveal much about the game itself, but it is probably a safe bet that it will be a direct sequel to Doom Eternal. The name Year Zero could represent a plot point. Perhaps the Slayer is woken up in far in the future, where Year Zero refers to the year that the gates of hell are opened after some divine timer or counter has run out. In previous Doom games, demonic invasions were instigated by humans, so Year Zero might be uninitiated on the part of the humans. This is all pure speculation. Year Zero could mean anything. Doom Year Zero does not have a release date, but it is possible to make an educated guess about its release window. Doom Year Zero does not have a release date, but it is possible to make an educated guess about its release window. Delays in the development of Doom Year Zero cannot be ruled out. It could only arrive in 2025 or possibly even later, so fans are advised to be patient. A new Doom game, apparently titled Doom Year Zero, has leaked online. The Doom brand is one of the most well-known in gaming history, though the franchise has definitely had its ups and downs. Doom had a string of successful releases in the 90s, but the FPS series ultimately went on hiatus after Doom 3, which garnered a more mixed reception from fans for its slower pace and focus on horror elements over the fast-paced shooting the series had been known for up to that point. 12 years after Doom 3, Doom finally made a comeback with the 2016 Doom reboot. The 2016 Doom game earned critical acclaim and was hailed as a return to form for the franchise. It was followed up in 2020 with Doom Eternal, a sequel that made the combat even more frantic and is considered by many to be one of the best games in the series to date. A new entry in the Doom franchise is inevitable, and a recent leak suggests it could be coming out as early as next year. Since 2023 is nearly at an end and Doom Year Zero has not been officially announced, it's safe to assume that the game has been internally delayed and most likely won't release until 2024 at the earliest. No other details about what Doom Year Zero is are revealed in the leaked documents, but its title certainly suggests that it is a prequel of some sort. That's just speculation at this time, though. Fans will have to wait for Bethesda to officially reveal Doom Year Zero to know for sure what the game is about, and with the Xbox Games Showcase and QuakeCon 2023 having come and gone already, it's looking like a Doom Year Zero reveal isn't happening in 2023, barring a world premiere at the Game Awards, that is. Whenever Doom Year Zero is released, another detail fans will be curious about is whether the game is Xbox console exclusive or not. Chances are good that any new Doom games will be Xbox exclusive, but there's always the slight chance that Microsoft could still bring the game to PS5, considering Doom's built-in audience on the platform. However, PlayStation gamers shouldn't hold their breath for that possibility. The most likely scenario is that Doom Year Zero will release only on PC and Xbox. A major leak has indicated that Dishonored 3 is in development. Bethesda's Arcane Studios is best known for its Dishonored games, with the first two Dishonored titles and the standalone expansion Death of the Outsider all earning acclaim. But while Dishonored is Arcane's most popular franchise, the studio has dabbled in other games as well, to mixed results. The 2017 Prey game from Arcane has its fans, though it wasn't nearly as well loved as the Dishonored games. The 2019 Wolfenstein Youngblood and Wolfenstein Cyberpilot games, developed in conjunction with Machine Games, are widely considered to be two of the worst modern Wolfenstein games. 2021's Deathloop earned praise and was one of the most acclaimed games in the year that it launched, but 2023's Redfall was a complete flop and a complete disaster, failing to maintain any kind of sizable audience and being panned by gamers. Arcane's history shows that the studio is certainly willing to try new things, but its most consistent success has come from the Dishonored games, and so it's no surprise to learn that the studio would be returning to that well for its next project. Official documents leaked as a result of Microsoft's court case with the FTC has revealed that Dishonored 3 is in development, and at one point, it was even expected to launch in fiscal year 2024. However, the document was made at a time when Redfall and Starfield were both believed to be launching in fiscal year 2022, so it's safe to say that plans have been pushed back a bit. Thanks to the leak, fans of Rockstar Games' Western sequel Red Dead Redemption 2 can look forward to the game coming to current-gen platforms with upgrades. Despite Rockstar's recent stumbles, fans of Red Dead Redemption may be happy to hear about the game finally making its way to current-gen consoles natively sometime between January and March of 2024. With this native current-gen version of Red Dead Redemption 2 aiming for Q1 2024, it's likely that fans could learn more before the end of the year, perhaps at the Game Awards in December. Although Red Dead Redemption 3 is rumored to be in the works at Rockstar, the long-awaited and hotly anticipated Grand Theft Auto 6 is all but confirmed to be the studio's next major release. The biggest part of the leak is Microsoft exploring the possibility of acquiring Nintendo, Valve and Warner Bros. Games along with ZeniMax back in 2020. The past few years have seen Microsoft aggressively push to consolidate the gaming industry, particularly when it comes to acquisitions. To date, one of the company's biggest deals is the $7.5 billion acquisition of ZeniMax Media in 2021. The buyout meant that a number of high-profile IPs like Fallout, Elder Scrolls, Doom, and more recently, Starfield fell under Microsoft's ownership. Now, the Xbox maker attempts to close its ambitious $68.7 billion purchase of Activision Blizzard. As part of its ongoing efforts at making the case for the Activision buyout, the tech giant submitted a trove of documents in the recently conducted FTC v. Microsoft trial. However, a few of these documents have now leaked and have revealed some of Microsoft's gaming notable ambitions. A 2020 email from Xbox chief Phil Spencer has shown that Microsoft actively explored acquiring Nintendo, Valve and Warner Bros. Games alongside the ZeniMax buyout. In the email, Spencer stated that Nintendo is the prime asset in terms of gaming for Microsoft and that getting Nintendo would be a career move. The email also showed that at the time, Microsoft's biggest issue with potentially acquiring Warner Bros. Games was that it wouldn't have owned any of the media conglomerate's IPs. Spencer acknowledged an acquisition would be difficult, as Nintendo is sitting on a big pile of cash, and it would take a long time for Nintendo to see that their future exists off of their own hardware. A long time. Earlier this year, other acquisition targets were revealed in court documents, including Thunderful, Supergiant Games, Niantic, Playrix, Zynga, Bungie, IO Interactive, and Scopely. Microsoft also considered acquiring companies like Sega, CD Projekt Red, From Software, Square Enix, Larian Studios, and Remedy. The idea that Nintendo's games should exist off its own hardware is a statement that's been turning heads, and for good reason. First and foremost, the idea that Nintendo needs to release its games on non-Nintendo consoles is tarnished quickly when one looks at the list of best-selling video game consoles of all time. Out of the 10 best-selling video game consoles, 5 of the spots belong to Nintendo. In fact, the Nintendo Switch is the third highest-selling video game console. For comparison, Xbox has one console that has managed to crack the top 10, the Xbox 360. The argument could be made that Nintendo software would stand to sell a lot more if it were available on other platforms. And that may be true, but that could in turn mean less people are buying Nintendo consoles. Whereas most video game consoles are sold at a loss, Nintendo consoles are generally sold at a profit. And so Nintendo has some serious motivation to make sure that people have a reason to buy their latest hardware. The only things Microsoft would do to Nintendo is making better hardware, achievement support, and online functionality. On the flip side, the quality of Nintendo games would go down the drain if they went under Microsoft and Xbox. This isn't the first time Microsoft has talked about acquiring Nintendo, and it's likely going to be something that the company keeps considering as the years go on. But the prediction that Nintendo's future doesn't involve Nintendo consoles is debunked by looking at the company's wildly successful hardware. There have been some bumps in the road, particularly with the Wii U, but Nintendo has always bounced back, and is currently riding a high that seems virtually unstoppable. Right now, the Nintendo brand is as strong as it's ever been. Beyond the explosive popularity of the Nintendo Switch and Nintendo's games, the Super Mario Bros. Movie grossed over $1 billion at the box office earlier this year. And Super Nintendo World has been a big hit at Universal Studios parks around the world, with plans to expand in the future. While it's easy to see how a Microsoft acquisition of Nintendo would benefit Xbox, it's difficult to see how it would benefit Nintendo. Phil Spencer also mentioned that they have someone inside Nintendo, buying huge stakes, and plan to convince Nintendo to partner with Microsoft through bribing other shareholders in the company. As an individual need to go through the Japanese government to own more than 10% stake in a Japanese company. So, as a collective, by using this guy and bribing other stockholders, Microsoft can get Nintendo to submit. It is a hostile takeover strategy and corporate espionage tactics similar to the thing they did with sending Rod Ferguson and Mike Ibarra to Activision Blizzard, and got the job done by acquiring the company at last. They did the same thing with Sega, by sending some executives there the last few years, and Nintendo could be on the way of Microsoft's way to consolidating majority of the gaming industry. That's my hypothesis, and it is a huge possibility made even stronger by the leaked emails. All that outside PR talk and act like the good guys, saying when everybody plays we all win, it's all just deceiving political tactics to the public. I know this from the beginning, but all these media just ignored the information and skimmed through it like it's nothing. Making the Xbox console and Bethesda games leak the top headlines, the consolidation topic got sidelined. The head of Xbox, Phil Spencer, has taken to social media to share his thoughts about the various leaks as well as give some insight as to if and when some of these announcements might officially be made. Spencer calls all the current accuracy of the leaks into question as he states, "It is hard to see our team's work shared in this way because so much has changed." He goes on to say that they will share the real plans when we are ready. We all know this is all damage control because the cat is out of the bag. The UK's Competition and Markets Authority, or CMA, has made a preliminary decision approving Microsoft's new version of the Activision Blizzard deal. It was expected that the CMA would make a preliminary ruling on the ABK acquisition sometime this week, with a more definitive response coming by October 18. The CMA initially blocked the Activision Blizzard acquisition in April, marking the second major government authority to openly oppose the deal. The United States FTC has also been vocally against the pending agreement since it was first announced in January 2022. The CMA stated that its concerns centered primarily on the impact the acquisition would have on cloud gaming, claiming that Microsoft would end up with an unfair advantage in the budding market. In an attempt to assuage these concerns, Microsoft amended the Activision Blizzard deal, this time divesting the tech giant of any cloud streaming rights of ABK games. Those rights would instead be transferred to Ubisoft, which would be able to bring PC and console Activision Blizzard games to the Ubisoft Plus streaming service over the next 15 years and oversee licensing to other cloud gaming platforms. This amendment seems to have satisfied the CMA, which has given preliminary approval of the new version of the deal. The CMA's preliminary approval is great news for our future with Microsoft, Activision Blizzard said in a statement to Game Rant. We're pleased the CMA has responded positively to the solutions Microsoft has proposed, and we look forward to working with Microsoft toward completing the regulatory review process. For its part, the CMA confirmed that the new Activision Blizzard agreement with Microsoft substantially addresses previous concerns and opens the door to the deal being cleared. The fact that Ubisoft is an entirely independent third party and Microsoft will now be entirely hands-off when it comes to cloud streaming of ABK games seems to have been paramount in the deal being approved. It satisfies the CMA's desire to ensure that the cloud gaming market remains balanced and encourages competition in a space that is still in its infancy. Of course, this is not the CMA's final decision. The government agency is also separately deciding whether Microsoft should be allowed to purchase Activision at all. That investigation, along with the probe into cloud gaming, will remain open until October 6. In the meantime, a court case is taking place in the US with the FTC, which recently resulted in a major leak of Microsoft's long-term plans for Xbox. Given these hiccups, Microsoft and Activision Blizzard agreed to extend the acquisition deadline from July 18 to October 18, 2023. If the acquisition still isn't finalized by then, it's uncertain if the two conglomerates will still pursue closing the deal or call it quits. Microsoft has proposed divesting the cloud gaming rights for all current Activision Blizzard titles, plus any released in the next 15 years, to Ubisoft. The Assassin's Creed publisher would then be able to distribute these to other streaming services, thus preventing Microsoft from making them exclusive to its own cloud gaming ecosystem. As the Microsoft-Activision deal nears the finish line, I think the regulators also turned a blind side to the leaks. Who knows, Microsoft may acquire Ubisoft after this, and the 10-year Call of Duty deal for Nintendo could be one of the ways to gobble them. It'll be interesting to see how Nintendo, Valve, Warner Bros., the regulators, gamers, and the industry as a whole reacts to this leak. Xbox is reportedly relying on a steady increase in Xbox Game Pass subscribers to keep it in the games industry. Xbox Game Pass was also a topic of discussion, largely due to ongoing debates as to its long-term effects on competition in the gaming space, as well as how Valve-destructive it is for developers to put their games on the service. Apparently, Xbox holds its subscription service in high regard, with the head of Xbox himself, Phil Spencer, predicting that if subscribers aren't where they need to be by 2027, it could mark the end of Microsoft's activity in the gaming business. Currently, Xbox Game Pass is available on Xbox consoles as well as PC, with the latter having the lowest number of subscribers. One of Xbox's goals for the future is to increase subscribers on PC as much as possible to keep them in the gaming industry. While showing projections of where they'd like PC subscribers to be by 2027, Spencer said, "I can safely say that if we do not make more progress than this off console, we would exit the gaming business. If this were the outcome, I don't believe we'd still be in the business." The next generation consoles currently in development by Microsoft will supposedly be made with Xbox Game Pass in mind. Adopting a cloud hybrid system that'd essentially make gaming on Xbox platforms entirely digital. The company even wants to eventually bring cloud streaming to Sony's PlayStation consoles, but believes such a move would be instantly blocked by the competitor. Xbox Game Pass is expected to surpass 100 million subscribers by 2029, though upcoming Xbox exclusives, AAA titles and more consolidation efforts will likely determine if that expectation becomes reality. And that's all for the video, guys. Like and share the video for a greater audience. Comment your thoughts on the topics, and donations are always appreciated. Subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon, and until then, from SMPV, it's goodbye.